We got it. We got it. What is going on, beautiful, amazing, powerful people? Welcome back to another amazing and impactful episode of the True Health Forever podcast, where we shall live our best life through the lens of holistic health. What were you pointing at?
I thought you were looking up there. I was trying to remind you that we're using this camera.
Oh, I appreciate you.
You're
I
welcome.
wasn't, but I appreciate the support in there, Queen. We do have a new setup, which I'll get into in a second after I introduce the beautiful, the supportive, the innovative, the smiling, the queen-rific health nerd. Please introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? My name is Sinclair, aka
The
the Health Nerd, and here joining you on a Sunday afternoon.
yes. So if you're watching, if you're listening, it may look a little different, it may sound a little different. We are trying to invest. No, we are actively, facts, actively investing in the podcast. And that time I did do it. I was definitely looking up at the
I'm like,
camera.
I'm
I
pretty
was
sure
definitely
you're
looking
looking
up
at the
that
wrong
time.
camera,
It,
but
it's just it's muscle memory. But we're investing right inside of True Health Forever, inside of the podcast to make sure it's a better experience for you all. And this person that we got on, I think is gonna help take your business to the next level, and it's gonna help take our business to the next level as well. Y'all know that the Queen has officially become a full-time entrepreneur. Yes, round of applause. You were just waiting to
I
click
was,
that button
I
this
was.
whole time. But with that, right, a struggle before and probably throughout your whole entire entrepreneurship journey is going to be, what do I post?
It's such a struggle. It's such a
It's a
struggle for
huge
me.
struggle.
It's, I don't know if it's like, I don't know if like personalities. I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure personalities have something to do with it too. Of like, I get on social media and I'm like, okay, I should post something. I'm like,
What
it's
do
almost
I
like
post?
writer's block was like
Yeah,
content block of like, there's so much to post. I don't know what to post. So yeah,
right.
I'm looking forward to myself learning from our guest today for sure.
Listen, I need you to ask selfish questions.
Oh,
Like
say
literally, like
less.
as you're going through this interview, and this is part two with brother Pop, passionately on purpose, right? The 9 to 5 creator. Been doing some dope stuff on social media. We had him on round one. We're gonna bring him on round two to really zoom in on what do I post, how do I post it, who am I posting it for, when do I post, on what platforms do I post, all the questions. Sinclair's gonna ask them. You can ask them live as well. Sinclair, are you ready?
Are you ready for some podcast?
All right, we're out. Yeah. Oh, so the queen was feeling herself with those vocals. Oh, but there you go, right there. Pop, what's going on? How
What's
you
going
living?
on, family? What's going on with you? What's going on with you?
Man, blessed over here. Thank you for taking the time to come on back for round two. Right.
Absolutely.
Uh, for the people that missed round one, can you give them a little introduction? Who are you? Where you're from? And what do you do out here in these streets?
Listen, so I go by the name of POP, right? Because I believe in living passionately on purpose, and that's in every aspect and element of my life. And I am the 9 to 5 content creator. And the reason how that came about is because I'm a 9 to 5 worker, but also building a personal brand, building a business, and leveraging the power of social media and messaging through content in order to do just that. So I thank y'all so much, Queen. Thank you, King. Appreciate you. I'm really excited about getting into this discussion.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. Let's get into it. So, I want to start off with the mistake, right? Can
Mhm.
you maybe share the biggest content creating mistake that you've made over the years, or
Yeah.
that like, maybe clients that you work through, or there's people that you see on social media, and you're like, "Ooh, I wouldn't do that, man. That's a bad move."
I would say being too scattered. I tell
Mm,
people all the time. if your social media, is a portrait, if you will, or your body of work, right, that kind of tells a story of who you are, what you offer, and what solution you have to solve a problem. If someone comes onto your page and one day you posting something about your dog, and the next day you posting something about your breakfast, and the third day you posting something about a foot fungus, ain't nobody going, nobody, nobody is going to be willing to stick around. Why? Because the thing about it is that you may very well have the solution to their problem, but because you're not laser focused, they don't know who it is that you are. They don't know that they cannot identify with you and identify with the solution that you have. And the saturated social media is, they're not going to stick around. They're not going to stick around to figure it out. They going on to somebody else. So I would say the biggest thing that I tell my clients, the biggest thing that I personally had to work through was getting laser focused and making sure that everything that I was posting was cohesive, and also was very clearly demonstrating and very clearly portraying what it is that I offer to my audience.
Beautiful. We starting off spicy. We starting off heavy, right? If anyone out there, you have a business, you have a personal brand, think of questions that you have, even if you're watching on the replay. Go ahead and put those in there. But I have a follow up, but I do want to say, Queen, do you have anything before I keep it going?
Well, and maybe I don't know if this is your follow up or not, but you mentioned that was one of the things that you had to deal with. So what did you end up, creating as your laser focus? Like if someone goes to your page, what are you hoping that they're gaining from a snapshot, right? They're in your page from like after 10 seconds. What are you hoping that they're gaining from that first couple seconds?
That I'm the content creating dude, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Anything that you need as far as content creation, from creating it to clarifying your message, like I'm that dude. And for me, what I had to do was, to be honest, I'm gonna be honest, this was the most difficult thing that I had to do. You can Posting just for the sake of posting is not helping you. Every single time that you post, you have to have some sort of strategy. And I actually had to get a mentor who actually pulled me to the side, was like, look, you posting dope content, but what? For what? Like, why did you post that? What was your thought process behind that? What do you want from that post? So I would challenge us that when we are posting, we ask ourselves what it is that we want from that post. What is it? Come into posting it with a strategy as to what it is that I'm trying to display. What am I trying to communicate with my audience, right? What am I trying to communicate with my potential customer? You got to get laser focused. So for me, I realized that I was just, as you kind of you alluded to, Queen, I was just posting just because somebody said you got to post 3 to 5 times a day, so I'm just posting because I'm supposed to be posting, right? But I wasn't getting any engagement. I wasn't seeing any real growth, and it got extremely disappointing to me, and also discouraging, to the point where for a very long time I stopped posting altogether. Because I'm like, yo, I'm doing what these gurus are saying to do, posting 3 times a day and all of this, but I'm not seeing any fruit from it, right? So it was then, and thank God for my mentor. Shout out to Marcus Y. Rozier. He was like, bro, like, you're dope with creating content. Why don't you make that your lane, and all you talk about is creating content? Because once he realized, when he learned that I do all my own graphics, I do all my own editing and all of that, he was like, yo, this is what you do. Get in that lane and teach people how to do what you do. And I was like, okay. And that's what I did. So I narrowed down my focus, I narrowed down my messaging, and I got clear on who it was that I was talking to. And then that opened up the Pandora's box for creating content. And that's why I say now, creating content is light work. Creating content is light work. And I want us to say that to ourselves every time we get discouraged. What we have to realize is that content is simply the vehicle by which you communicate your message, you communicate your service, and the solution that you have to somebody's problem. You're the creative engine. The content needs you, right? The content needs you. So we get intimidated by this idea of content, and I what I personally work through as well with my clients is getting out of their heads in regards to, like, no, content is not the boogeyman. The content needs you. You have expertise, you have experience. You have expertise, you have experience, and you have been able to, and you have a solution to somebody's problem. So all you're doing is taking what you already know and you're packaging it in this tool called content. So we don't want content. I don't want content to be something that we're intimidated by. I want us to realize that content is light work and content needs us.
You know, I want to agree with you, but I be struggling sometimes. I be struggling. So I'm trying to get to where you're at, where
Yeah.
content creation is just this light work. But
You struggle.
I do struggle on. So I think I'm where you may have been like last year, where it's like
Okay.
I'm posting different stuff. Like I have my inspirational posts. The purpose of it is just to inspire. I feel like I probably need to laser that down a little bit. I have the posts where I'm like reposting other black businesses to show that love. I have the game posts, which are very clear, very intentional, but I don't think there's a laser focus, right? I think it's a little spread out there. Same thing with TH4. So for looking at our platforms, POP, what would you say we should do to get better at being laser focused? Right? Like
So,
if there's activities, if there's questions we should be asking ourselves, insights we should be looking at, just anything you feel like if we were your client, you'd be like, hey, do these things, that'll get you on track.
got you, got you, got you. Great question. So there's three questions that I asked that I have my client work through. Is who are you talking to? Very
Okay.
first thing is who are you talking to, right? The second thing is what is their pain or pleasure point? What is their pain or pleasure point, right? What are they struggling with? What are they trying to where are they trying to get to? You begin to kind of narrow down what that person needs, right? Or that group of people that you're speaking to needs. Number three is what solution do you have to cure that pain point or to provide that pleasure? Okay. So those are the three questions that you have to work through. And the reason why these are important is because once you can identify who it is that you're talking to, then you can begin to build out or figure out how you want to build a relationship with them. And you build that relationship with them through your content, right? Then what you also do is when you have identified their pain and their pleasure point, you know exactly where you can meet them, right? You know exactly what they're going through. You take the time to actually get to know, to fall in love with the individual, fall in love with the audience that you're speaking to, right? Then once you're able to fall in love with them and you care, right? And you begin to think about, okay, these are their pain, these are their pleasure points, then you can relate that to the solution that you have to their problem. And what you're then doing is you're using your content to show that you have the solution to their problem. You're using your content to show that, hey, look, I know you, I know what you're dealing with, I know what you're going through, and look, I got content right here that is showing you very specifically that I'm talking to you first,
Mhm.
and I care about you enough to know your pain and pleasure point, and I'm providing a solution to be able to do that. So what I would say is you have to work through those questions. You have to work through those questions, and the reason why it's important to work through those questions because if not, shout out to my homegirl, Coach Jamie. She said to me when you're talking to because one of the things that I struggle with was talking to everybody. I
Mm.
felt, hey man, what I got, I could talk to everybody and it's all good. She said, if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody. If you're talking to everybody, then you're talking to nobody. So you have to identify. And plus, and here it is. I'll shut my mouth.
No, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
What I realized, man, what I realized in it. Think about this. I realized that I was selfish in that approach
Mm.
because I was sacrificing the people who actually needed to hear my message. I was sacrificing them for this idea that I can serve everybody, right? So I'm feeding people who may not necessarily like the food that I got. But there's specific people who like exactly what I'm offering, the food that I got. But I'm feeding everybody else, right? Neglecting them when they actually need what I have.
Mm.
So the beauty of focusing your attention and the beauty of being crystal clear about who you're talking to is that you're beginning to feed the people who actually need what you have.